All right, so I'm sure most of you have heard about Brazil. I certainly did, and for the longest time I wanted to go. So today I'm talking to you about the top things to do in the most famous cities of Brazil that everyone goes to, Rio de Janeiro and Salvador. I had the privilege and opportunity to go at the start this year for 3 months, visiting other places, but my main chunk of time was there, and this is why I want to make this list now and now recommend the best things for you to do in Rio and in Salvador, so stay tuned. And by the way, if you don't know me, I'm Amal. I'm a traveler and dancer. One of the big reasons I went to Brazil was to go and collaborate with many dance styles and many different dancers and to create Michael Jackson iconic video, They Don't Care About Us, and make sure I see the place where he danced and recreate that video. So Brazil is such a special place for me, and I hope you enjoy my list of things you can do there safely. Alright, so first up, it's Rio de Janeiro. Cidade maravilhosa. Even after 3 months, I don't think my Portuguese is good. Anyway, so Rio de Janeiro is probably the most beautiful city I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's got a combination of outstanding nature, urban life, parties, things to do, history, modern. It's gorgeous, and I get why my parents went there for their honeymoon. It's just very romantic as well, very beautiful. So one of the best things in Rio really is to make the most of this natural beauty. So you've got all the very high peaks that will give you incredible views. So the most famous one is Cristo, the Redeemer. The statue itself is underwhelming. Apparently, I didn't go, but apparently it's not that high. But I think the experience of going, if you're hiking, take the route of the hike, don't go by taxi. That whole experience is like a pilgrimage because you go through jungle, you see the views, it's incredible. And one that I did is a sunrise hike. I left my house at 2 a.m. and it was so worth it. I was functioning on 1 hour sleep and went to, should I say in Portuguese or English? In English, it's the Two Brothers. So it's the iconic two brother mountains you see at the end of Ipanema Beach near Leblon. And then you have to pass through Vidigal Favela to go and start this hike. Those two peaks can be reached through the favela. You have to go with a guide though, because you have to go through the favela at night. But you go and it's about 45 minutes. And from the other side, you actually see the biggest favela of Latin America, which is Rocinha. Incredible views over it. And then you reach the Sunrise Point, and I've got some incredible drone footage of that experience where we had the mistiness of the clouds. It literally felt like there was a waterfall over the peak, over the highest peak, and it was like trickling down as if it was water. The cloud formed like a stream of mist going, you know, it was so beautiful, and I'll never forget that hike. It was my first activity in Rio, and it was like, whoa, what a start. I'm literally starting at the top and admiring these incredible views of this beautiful city that is Rio. Another peak you can do is the famous one called Sugarloaf Mountain because it's shaped like a sugar loaf, and there's a cable car that can take you up there to see the incredible views of Rio as well. I didn't go to the top of that one because I didn't want to take cable cars. I'm big on hiking, so I hiked up to Morro Urca, which is the first peak before Sugarloaf, and that hike is also amazing. I have a vlog you can watch actually on that hike, plus the one I did for the sunrise. Beautiful hike. And over there's some incredible views, of course, and there's a mall which is really random. So yeah, so incredible for the hiking, for the nature. Then there's the Botanical Garden. That was my favorite thing to do in Rio, actually, just to see the different species of plants, and especially the awareness about how many are dying and how the efforts they're putting into conservation of the different species of trees. Obviously, Brazil being one of the most diverse countries in terms of trees and plants, and got the Amazon there, obviously. So really, it was so important for me to take that trip and remember why it's important to conserve. And literally just 20 minutes into the medicine garden, and I felt healed and renewed. So there you go. That's the power of nature, ever so present, ever so important. Go there. If you're like me, if you're a nature freak, go to the Botanical Garden of Rio. Next up in Rio, so the favelas. So big thing in Rio is to do the guided, and yes, do make sure you go with a guide to the favelas. I chose to go to the one called Santa Marta, and for obvious reasons, because I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan, and that's actually the favela where he shot some of the video of They Don't Care About Us, wearing this t-shirt, yes, Olodum, and he walked down those steps in the favela, and I actually managed to recreate a reel for Instagram, kind of pretending to do that video again. It went super viral. But anyway, the tour was incredible. It was such a good experience to enter and find out more about the community and how they live. It's actually very safe to take your phone out and take your belongings. But don't go there alone, especially at night, because you never know. Maybe there's a gang opposite person that can come and you'd be in trouble. If you're curious about how people live in favelas, it's good to go see. I personally made it because of the whole Michael Jackson thing and I wanted to make cool videos. But if not, I think that in Rio has other things you can do instead. Like if you want to go see history, and I'm going to go into this now, the Lapa district, Santa Teresa, the historical districts of Rio are very, very interesting to see, very cool, very artsy. There's loads of graffiti and street art, and there's loads of places, like iconic places like Cafe Colombo, where you can have really nice coffee and pastries in the old colonial style buildings of the time, so you kind of like feel what old Rio used to be like back in the day. So that's very interesting for any history buffs. And also for the samba culture at night, it's the best place to go is Lapa. So also near Lapa there's Morro de Pinto, so there's some really cool parties going on there. If you go with the right people, with locals, they can guide you and you'll have so much fun in that district. Obvious attraction in Rio is the famous beaches Ipanema and Copacabana. I like them. I mean, I thought it was a bit overrated because everyone talks about it. Yes, you got the volleyball, the people playing football, people drinking cocktails. It is such a vibe, but that's not what my favorite thing about it was. Actually, my favorite thing was to just sit at any time of the day and there would be someone you can interact with. So for example, I went swimming at midnight for my birthday to mark my chapter 35. That's why I love Copacabana Beach and Ipanema. It's not for the whole, you know, media stuff you see and like people in bikinis. Yes, there is that and it's fun to see, like the stereotypical Brazilian thing. It's like an open recreational ground. It's brilliant. And obviously, yes, you get the caipirinhas, the nice cocktails, don't miss out on those. You can have like the food, the cheese on stick and the corn, like all these Brazilian rituals and carioca rituals. It's incredible. And if you're into football, yes, you can just play with anyone there. It is such a vibe, and don't miss the sunsets at Arpoador. That was my favorite spot to see, and there was street entertainers there. I danced there, even made some videos. It was really, really cool. So that's for the beaches, and then obviously Rio is famous for its parties. Yes, there are some very cool spots. My favorite one that I would recommend to go in Rio is Botafogo. It's got loads of little trendy up and coming bars, and it's kind of like less crowded than Copacabana, less touristy as well if you're into that. And the brilliant thing with Rio is that anyone you talk to and you meet on the beach, in a bar, will be like, oh, there's a party going on in that place. Or even if you're staying in a hostel, the hostel that I did the New Year's Eve party in, they had a whole program of boat parties, of sunset parties, of you name it, there's a party in Rio for everything. So I spent 4 weeks there. Obvious for the people who know me and know I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan, Olodum is the band that is from Salvador, and Pelourinho is the historical center of Salvador, where a lot of significance because of the African history, where all the enslaved Africans came from in the 19th century, when all the Portuguese brought the slave trade into Brazil, and it started in Salvador, which was also the capital of Brazil for a very long time. Anyway, Olodum movement was actually a form African enslaved people to resist and to still preserve their culture with the drumming, with the music, with all the tribal rituals they had, and you definitely feel that in their music. It's like in their stomping, there's something so powerful about it, and I think that's what Michael Jackson wanted to bring forward with They Don't Care About Us, is to really showcase Olodum and to remember Black history actually of Brazil. So that holds so much significance when you go into Salvador. It's everywhere, but especially Pelourinho, which is that historical center. And it's so beautiful to see because it's hilly and it's colorful. So you've got the colonial Portuguese buildings in many different colors. And then of course you will lose your shit when you go and see where Michael Jackson stood, that balcony where he danced in Pelourinho overlooking the square. And literally every half hour there's those drummers that come out. It's not Olodum, because Olodum is a huge band now, so they have specific times they perform, but you have other brilliant drumming bands. So literally Salvador was great for content creation, but even if you're not a content creator, you will be inspired. There's quite a few museums in the center, and the beaches is mainly why you should go to Salvador, because there's a different vibe everywhere. I'm not gonna go too much into detail because I have a whole video just about the beaches in Salvador. Like, that's how amazing the beaches are. But the top ones, I would say Porto Baja, because of the vibe and just like people like jumping out to the sea, and it's just a vibe. It's not the best to swim as a central city beach, but it's a great vibe, and you can just walk around and so many bars there to chill. And then if you've got time, half an hour away, you can go to Stella Maris, which is also a place I spent a lot of time in. I love the vibe there, reminded me of Benin, West Africa. Loads of coconut trees there and acarajé food, and it's just a whole other vibe. Very bohemian. Itapua as well is very bohemian, very cool. You can kayak, you can do all sorts of water activities. And then you got the islands, which I didn't do, but the islands are in the Bay of Saints. Bahia is the state to go if you want to see beautiful beaches in Brazil. But the main thing for me was the street food. It was so fresh. I didn't get any sickness from eating on the street ever. Fish is very good. The camarão, the prawns, I'm so glad I remember that. So yeah, Salvador is a culinary experience, an experience for the senses, for your ears with all the music around you, for the sight, for the beaches. Salvador is such a special place, and even just talking about it now, I want to run back to it. So obviously talking about Brazil and the two biggest cities people visit, and it's also the two biggest cities people complain about in terms of safety. So I can't make this video without talking about safety a little bit. In both cities, just be mindful of your phones. That's the only thing I'd say. And don't be flashy. Like, don't wear any jewelry, don't wear any designer brands. Anyway, you'll see the vibe there. Like, I went with so many things in my suitcase that I didn't end up using, like shoes, and everyone's wearing Havaianas. Like, you just come out in flip-flops and shorts. Some people just walk around in bikinis, and that's it. You don't need anything else in Brazil, whether it's Salvador or Rio. So don't take any valuable clothing or anything, because you look like an idiot. And it's when you look like an idiot, or a gringo as they call it, that's when you become a target. So dress like the locals and you'll be fine. Don't flash your phone at night. Just observe the basic, non-stupid things and you'll be fine. But stay tuned, because I'm making a whole other video about how I stayed safe as a woman for 3 months. That's gonna be my next video. But anyway, couldn't do this one without brushing up a little. Yes, these cities are very fun. Just don't go to favelas alone. Keep your phone with you, don't flash it, and it's just basic. Like, if you're used to traveling, and even if you're not, and you're not an idiot, don't miss out on the other things you can do outside in the States, because like I said, Brazil is a huge ass country. But Bahia, for example, has inland, a place that I absolutely adored going to is Chapada Diamantina. It's like the name says, it used to be a reserve for diamond mining. So very, very rich in minerals and beautiful landscapes and waterfalls and caves and all sorts. And at one point I thought I was in Uganda because it was so green. You've got the islands as well off of Rio State, like Ilha Grande, and then you've got also another beach called Cabo Frio. Yeah, so it's not just about the cities, and that's what's brilliant with Brazil, and that's why you need more than freaking 3 months. You know, I wish I had a whole year there, even more. I didn't do the Amazon, I didn't do so many things, but it was just a little taster for me. I just opened a bottle, and then next is taking the real sip is for my next time in Brazil. Absolutely love the place and these two cities. I hope this was useful. I hope this inspires you to go to Brazil and see Rio and Salvador. Let me know in the comments what else you'd like to find out about Brazil. I'm sure I missed out a lot of things in this video, but I certainly enjoyed talking to you about it, and I hope to see you soon again. Peace!